Hello and welcome to the next podcast with Lillian and Andy. Today we're going to talk about role models, people who are recovering from Parkinson's, who are largely overlooked and not investigated. We're curious to know why.
And it's very important to have role models. The problem is that we have this definition about cured or not. And that makes it very difficult because in my perspective, it's a matter of where on the scale you are. There's nobody measuring if you have 10% Parkinson or 50% Parkinson. You have these stages, but they are not very well described. So with my biological way of looking, there is actually no illness because it's a matter of how often you are in fight, flight, and freeze. But we still need these role models. So people can open up, they can crack up the old belief that you can do nothing and be curious on these guys. What have they done? So they become how do you say it? They can pull the wagon for people so they can see it's possible.
They are inspirational, aren't they? They provide us with inspiration and hope. So they're really, really important people.
And what I can do is to put things in perspective. Why are they outliers? Why are they random noise? That's because we are all on this scale. So even people just become a little better. It's interesting because Parkinson's and a lot of other chronic illness has this story about them, this narrative that it can only spiral worse. So even you stay at the same state you are in for many, many years, it's still interesting.
Mm.
So we encourage you all to make a comment or write to me with the heroes you have found, because it's only the bigger one that people get in the search field, but there's a lot out there. So which guys have you found?
Well, first I'm going to talk about a fellow Englishman, Scott Hanley, who achieved some remarkable reversal of symptoms with intense exercise. His protocol is just to do lots and lots of exercise, and this has really helped him. Following that is John Coleman. He used self-love, laughter, meditation, Bowen therapy, counseling, trauma therapy, all kinds of things. John Pepper, who used stress management and fast walking.
Shifter, he is high in Qigong.
Yes, and Bianca Muller is also used Qigong. Anna Helevic, stress reduction and lots of dancing, which I fully endorse. A chap called Steve Peterson, who said, my doctor told me it's cultural. Most patients, especially in Western countries, want a drug or a procedure for a problem, something that's a one-off fix like an operation or an easy regular thing like a course of tablets. What they don't want to have to make is an effort to heal themselves. So he's very much into self-healing. Jimmy Choi is an American ninja warrior competitor. I've read his story. It's very interesting. He was quite disabled with PD, and then he started walking very slowly, and now he's a ninja warrior competitor, does intense physical fitness, and is a well-known advocate. So these are some of the people that I know about.
And I used my Hope course and modeled a handful of these guys. Why can they do it? So you can get all these information in a perspective. And I have found an American called Karen Rayful, and she used intensive sport and meditation. And the next guys I know become interesting because they are Danes. So their webpage, even you found that you couldn't read it easily. And knowing that probably in each country there are a handful of these survivors, that make it even more interesting. Why don't we hear about it? So I have a woman here in Denmark. She's called Hanne Koplev. She uses horseback riding. There's a guy called Henrik Nielsen who use therapy and running. And not to forget, I have a client that maybe have done what hardly any has done, and that is that he is not only free of symptoms, he's free of medication, and he's free of his diagnosis. And again, it's not something I brag a lot with because it takes a long while. There is no cure. There is no fix for this because it's you turning every stone in regard to stress and trauma and drama and stressful work and whatever is part of your stress package here. Let's say there are at least a handful in each country, and trust me, the ones I find here in Denmark, it's the one that have made an effort somehow to make some interviews, make a video, make some article somewhere. But there's even more people that don't have these skills. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure for every person that get better, or let's say for every 100 that get better, that's maybe only 10 that have the skills to make 1, 2, 3 interviews, get in the hands on a clever journalist and make an article. And maybe it's in Danish, maybe it's in Japanese or some language we cannot understand. And then they probably say, okay, I've done the best I can to tell it to the world. And then there's a tiny fraction of these again that can do it in English. And the most famous somehow become professionals in this, so they can see a benefit of start to posting about their findings and learnings and so on.
I suspect, Lillian, there's probably people who have recovered to a large extent, but who don't want to talk about it or think about it. So they just have just walked away and we don't hear from them. I'm sure there's quite a significant number of people that
Yeah.
fall into that category as well.
Yeah, on my YouTube channel, you can find Bjarne, who has no diagnosis anymore, but he cannot speak English. He can do a few words in English, and that's sort of it. And he has sort of simply closed the door to Parkinson. He has more important things to do than to enlighten other people, and that's fair. So, what do you think about that? That's maybe not this handful or two you have found, but they just represent the uttermost top of guys that somehow have an urge to spread the message.
Yeah, I agree, Lynn. I think you're probably right. I just wish that more people would come forward and say, I'm getting better. This would be so inspirational and such a wonderful thing for someone in my position to hear.
Yeah, and what about you?
I've definitely made improvements.
Yeah,
So if that,
so you should be in, I mean, you helped me here and I'm very grateful for that, but someone should be very interested in dissecting everything you have done.
yeah.
And maybe it will come, but we have a lack of curiosity from doctors because that's the guys that have a chance to report it and push it back to, I don't know who collects information in there, if nothing else at conference or something like that.
But isn't that because it's medicalized, it's in a box. It's in a box so that there's only certain things you can do if you have Parkinson's. There's only certain things that will work. And it's a case of managing symptoms, which is just inadequate, if you ask me.
But I'm pretty sure that must be some of the doctors that have a little scientist in them and want to bring it forward and make a case study around that. There are a few, not a lot, but they exist, case study where doctors has done the right thing and described what's going on here. But it should come from the doctors and then cascade up so we could see this database of people that become better. Because if you have a database with 100 people that become better, then you can get curious. What are they doing that I'm not doing? That's actually what I've done with everything that I do, that I look deep into the people's mindsets, their hobbies, their thought, their stress, and so on. And yeah, we can make a little ad for the next Overcome course, but that's sort of what my vision have been, to pick the brains of these guys. And the things we have listed up here today with the different guys here, it's already in my courses, why they do it and how to put these information into perspective.
They all have one thing in common. They're all building resilience. They're all making themselves tougher and stronger mentally and physically. And this is very interesting that this has such a profound effect on your symptoms.
And a lot of things they do is reducing their stress.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not easy to see from what we have just mentioned, but when you look at more and more people, it starts to make sense. So again, please comment or write to me with your heroes so we can maybe make a collection of people so you can see they are out there with a link to something they posted or a video, and it's okay, it's in your local language. It's actually more interesting in the way that they are out there.
Yeah. We need these people. We need to hear from them.
And the more people you find, the more articles, then you probably dare to show it. Maybe start with your spouse, start with someone who you meet. Listen here, isn't it amazing? There's a list with this and this many people that become better. And here, just becoming better is also a very important result. It's not this about cured or not cured. It takes some years to unravel a whole life full of stress and trauma. That's okay. And then we have another facet of this that interests me a little, that even you and I shout from this channel, it doesn't reach out to a lot of people. So please share it. Please share this video to a friend, and maybe they can share it in their Facebook feed or to a friend they know. If you could find some super spreaders. We need to get this message out.
Yes, help us find the heroes. We're looking for the heroes.
So that's definitely one of the things we need, to shout out the good messages that, of course, you can become better, but it takes some dedicated work and time and dedication.
We need these people, really. We need to hear more about these people. So if you know anybody or know of anybody, just get in touch with us and message us and let us know who they are. That would be fantastic.
I have a few interviews in my YouTube feed, but it was fine to get new ones on board. Okay, should we call that a day and see you in the next podcast?